All right, welcome to the Survivor Michigan Wolverine Wars mid-season podcast. We're here with a number of exciting guests. Let's just go down the line. So obviously, I'm Ian. I'm the lead editor for season 4, and I can't wait to get into this with all these guys. We have a lot of really interesting questions and things to discuss. So Anders, you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, my name is Anders Norberg. I am the host of Survivor Maryland and editor. Seasons 6 through 10. Season 8 coming out sometime. I don't know. I have a job. I am a big fan of Michigan, and especially this season. I'm very excited to give you hot takes, my opinions that are completely correct, and you can't argue with me.
Sounds reasonable.
I can go next. First of all, just want to shout out and say congratulations to Anders for your new gig, being a real Survivor editor. So shout out to you for that. Also, we'll follow that up by saying your feedback with your audio was only 75% fixed on that.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah. But yes, hello. I'm Cooper, obviously, host of Survivor Michigan seasons 2 through 4. Super excited to talk about this season. Super excited to have our lovely 2 guests from the season on. I'm sure you guys have so much to say about it. And I'm super sad that both of you could not make the merge because the audience and production just wanted to see more of both of you. So not super happy that we're having you on tonight, but I guess it's a pleasure whenever. So thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I can go. I know Camilla and I were just both listening to it. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here to hash out season 4. I'm Aliza, but I'm assuming if you're watching the season, you probably should hopefully know that by now. Yeah, excited to be here and to talk more about what happened this pre-merge.
Yeah, and I guess to piggyback off of that, I'm Camilla from season 4, so hopefully you all know me. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here and to dish about everything that's been going on. So yeah.
All right, Cooper. First off, Cooper, there was a number of questions submitted that were all along very similar lines that I think you need to answer to. We had, why didn't production rig it for Aliza? We had, why didn't production rig it for Camilla? We had, why did Cooper let this happen? Why didn't Cooper use his vote at the Tokidoki Tribal to somehow just save Aliza 3 rounds later? When are they coming back on Edge of Extinction? So you have to answer for all of this right now. Why did you not rig it for these guys? Why is this even happening?
That's fair. You know what? I'm going to pass off the blame. I wanted to slip Camilla an idol. I wanted to tell Aliza just play hers, but I was outvoted by the rest of production. So honestly, my hands are clean in all of this. If it was up to me, they would both be in the merge. So I don't know. Blame the rest of production.
Cooper, 2 questions real quick. First, my mic is better now, right?
It's lovely, Anders.
Okay, thank you. The second question, was Aaron on production this season?
Aaron was on production this season.
There you go. That's the reason why.
Okay, well, let's get some of your hot takes out of the way. I'm very curious. Everyone's very curious. What are your couple of hottest takes before we get into some of these fan questions?
So first of all, I want to say that the characters this season are incredible. I think I've been entertained from beginning to end by almost everyone. They have something so unique about them, from the really incredible players like the Matthews and the Jacks and whatever like them, but also from the people like Kat or like Ivy and even Nate. It's they're not necessarily playing the best, but they sure do make the confessionals fun. I will say that this may be a hot take. Personally, I think the player who played the pre-merge the best was Megan. And I'd be happy to explain why I think Megan did so incredible. But I can get more into that later. I also think that Shannon is so funny because she just, it's kind of a messy fun. She's crying about people who don't even think about her. She's hating everyone around her. And then she goes, I don't even care if people hate me. It's this is a lot of words to say you don't care about something. And also, this might be a hot take as well. I'm not personally impressed by Dale, Jackson, or Matthew's gameplay thus far, because how much game have they really played in the pre-merge? I get that they've sort of, whenever they have gone to tribal, it's been a pretty good position for them, but like you don't have to be a good player to be in a good position pre-merge and never really swap out of it. Like you had the numbers because you kept winning, and then you had the numbers. They're funny, they're smart, but I don't think that makes them the best players.
So I guess let's talk about that a little bit. Obviously, the two most recent tribals is what resulted in this horrible result here with Camilla and Aliza. So I guess, do either of you feel like there was like something you could have done on those tribes to like really completely change the outcome, or that you could have done differently there?
Should have saved Camilla.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Did you ever like seriously consider it?
We pushed, like Matthew and I both, I would say, really pushed for Camilla. I think the turning point in us being like, we got to back off was when, I think Camilla, you were pretty vocal about your relationship with Jack, and I think everybody on Tokidoki was really afraid of Jack. And then I think Jack leaked that Matthew and I were talking to him, and we're like, okay, we got to back off. But before that, yeah, like I remember fighting for Camilla because I wanted to keep you around.
Yeah. I was thinking that, just like looking back, did you know that Jackson and Megan were talking to each other?
Yes, because that also leaked that week, but that was for some reason not as big of a deal as the returnees talking. I guess because like maybe returnees is like returnees, but yeah, that also leaked that week, and I remember everybody being skeptical about it. But I also feel like I heard the news about like Jack and Matthew and I talking from like I feel like there were things coming through different channels or whatnot. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing I would have done different would have been, even though it was such like a great episode, I maybe would have not voted out Ben. Looking back, probably not the best move for me in those moments, but it felt so cool. I couldn't not do it. But I also feel like just that week when I was going home, I was so scared to like suggest plans, just because I felt like you four were so tight that if I were to say something, maybe like it would make you guys hate me. But looking back, maybe I should have been more like aggressive. I don't know how receptive it would have been, but just I was watching myself like, come on, do something crazy. But I
You could have flirted with Jackson more. You don't think that would have helped?
The issue is you didn't flirt hard. You only spent 1 hour at a party flirting with him.
Oh no,
you already like set him up with Megan a little bit is the issue. I feel like you should have gone to him first.
I know, but that was just too perfect. I'm just so for the girls. Then I was like, come on, Megan. But I definitely could have flirted harder. I didn't have so many options though, so I should have flirted harder with you, Aliza.
With me?
Yeah.
I wanted to keep you, Camilla. I was like so team Camilla. It was like I felt like my back was against the wall with that one.
I know.
But we did talk a couple of times. It was just like I felt like I couldn't put my neck out that far, I think is what it was.
True. It was so sad to watch this last episode of you.
Yeah.
Not her.
I have a question.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, Aliza, was there a reason you and Matthew didn't go with Katie? Like, I get it that you definitely trusted your four, but like, was there any part of your mind that was saying, the returner label really shouldn't matter. There's only 3 of us and like 100 people at Merge. But if we know Dale and Jackson are kind of schemy because they keep saying they're schemy, maybe we should make a move against them before they do it against us, because we're not going to go to the Final Four.
Yeah. So I think I have a twofold answer to that. And that the first part would be, I don't think I ever fully really trusted Dale or Jackson. But in my mind, they were like such meat shields, and I was like really uncertain of what threat level I would be perceived at coming in as a returnee. And so I thought I saw them as a meat shield, and they kind of saw me as a returnee meat shield and whatnot. And I never was under the impression that they would take me to the end. But I was actually really shocked that they blindsided me then, because I thought that if they did it then, there would be no incentive for everyone who had swapped into El Norte to come back to them. And so I just like was shocked that they would make that move. So I really didn't expect it. But then on top of that, and I know this is a bad excuse because I hate when people like give the like life was in the way kind of excuse, but my sister was in the hospital the week that I was voted out, and I really just like wasn't playing my best Survivor. I think I was occupied. Like I remember I had to push back a meeting with Katie, and so she probably like that was probably a turn off for her. So I probably also just like wasn't fully 110% there. And then there was on top of that, sorry, this is a long answer now, but I feel like Jackson and Dale and Matthew were like originally kind of giving her the time of day out of fear that she could have an idol and whoever she then votes for gets voted out. And I was not concerned, obviously, with her having the idol. So I didn't feel the need to like play her as much as everybody else did. And then I think ultimately Dale and Jackson did end up working with her. So it worked out. But that was a long answer. So I don't know.
Anders, can I ask if you feel like that move for Dale and Jackson was a good move for them, or should they have stuck Tokidoki strong? Because obviously we see kind of in the like next time on, like Matthew and Shannon are talking and they're like, they just took out Aliza, who is super close to us. And Matthew obviously was left out of the vote. Do you think that taking out the threat that is Aliza, like before the merge, was worth them like basically going against all of their old tribe? Like where does that put them going into the merge? Are they in an okay spot still?
Well, I think it's the best move for someone like me who wants to see more shakeup. I don't want to see a Tokidoki takeover. I would hate that. And also, I don't want to see these men just control the rest of the game. It's not that they aren't good strategists, but like, I think the edit so far has framed it as they are like the best strategists in this game. It's like, that cannot be possible. Like, they are not making that many moves. All they're doing is talking to people because they don't have to do anything and then sharing all that information. Groundbreaking. But no, I think it's a terrible move for them. In all honesty, like, I think it severs their connection with Matthew. They have Katie, which, go Katie, honestly. She's going to be an important person come merge. Not a winner, but an important piece. But like, who do they gain with this move? Who's now like, well, I've got to work with Katie, Jackson, and Dale. Like, they don't have Jack. They don't have Shannon. I don't think Ivy or Kat are going to work with them. Maybe Megan, but like, I think Megan can do way better. So I think it's terrible for them, but it's incredible for the season because just thinking if they keep Aliza, then it's like, okay, there's 4 of them. We come to the merge. Shannon, Ivy, Kat are going to probably take out like Nate and then Jack. And then like maybe Megan will help the Tokidoki 4 get rid of Kat or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's going to be a pretty slog to the end. So ultimately, I think it's a poor move because it just makes them bigger targets. Like Lisa said about the meat shields, it's like they don't have that meat shield anymore. And it gives people like Shannon, Kat, and Ivy the opportunity to step up as the people controlling the game. We've had this narrative of the women forming their own group and like, we're not the outcasts. We are a completely independent group. And this is their opportunity. I especially see that for Shannon or Megan.
We will see what happens. It definitely
nothing would make me more disappointed at this point if it is just Dale and Jackson just slaughtered to the end. Like, God, come on! There's so many opportunities.
I will say I think it's going to be a surprising turn of events down the stretch. That's what I don't think it's a predictable shakeout from here.
I hope not.
Aliza, one question someone asked was between Savu and Tokidoki, which tribe did you kind of like prefer ultimately being on? Like, what was more fun for you? It was sort of, you were kind of at the top of one of the tribes and maybe more near the bottom ultimately of that guest group of Tokidoki of Matthew and Dale and Jackson. So how did that kind of feel for you? If you were to go back and just play again with one of those tribes, which one would you prefer?
Yeah, would you rather be in the tribe that was forced to vote out one of their own when they were in the minority at that big tribal council, or just kept losing, or the one that you were in the majority of?
Yeah, Team Savu always. I loved being on Savu and I loved everybody on Savu. And I think one of my favorite parts about being on Survivor and playing Survivor is like when you get to be scrappy. And I was able to be scrappy, I feel like, a lot on season 3 with Savu. And that was super not the case with Tokidoki. And nothing against like the big athletic like alpha man types. Maybe that's like not my necessary niche of best friends. And so I think being on a tribe where that was kind of like the dominant personality trait was not ideal for me. So I'm Team Sabu Sabu, surprisingly enough.
Camilla, another question that people asked was how could you have done this whole swap situation better? Like, what if you could go back, who would you prefer to send into the swap? Like, how could that have turned out differently?
It could have been so much better in so many ways. Like, all I had to do was maybe just not speak, just stay silent through the whole process. I guess in my mind, like looking back, I was just thinking, like, one, I was like overly confident. I kind of like saw this game as like my movie, and I was like, how can the main character be voted off? So I was like, there's no way that I can leave. So I was not scared of anything. And then also I was thinking, like, I really was playing for me and Jack. I wasn't really playing for myself a lot of times. And I was just thinking, if I don't have Jack, I don't have anybody. So if I don't like volunteer, then Jack will probably end up on the 2. Jack will go home, and then I don't have a lot of close relationships with anybody. Who's to say I'm not next? So I was like, and I was also thinking, well, I know Jack's talking to Matt and Aliza. Maybe I could get on that tribe, squeeze my way in there. And I didn't see it as like a closed door. I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be the end of me. Even though part of me was like, this is going to be the end of you. And so like, to do it better, I would have just not done anything that I did and just let it be. Just kind of be silent and pretend that nothing was going on. And I'm sure it would have turned out a lot nicer than what happened.
Cooper, similarly, I saw this a lot actually in comments on the swap episode and like on Twitter and stuff, and some people submitted it as well, which is, could you explain production, what they were thinking with the swap? Because a lot of people I saw felt like it was really unfair, and it was basically there's like no way in which El Norte could even get like a majority on either tribe with this swap, and that no matter what, you're basically creating a tribe where Tokidoki is just like inclined to throw it, and it's just going to screw over El Norte no matter what. But what do you say to that?
I will first start off by saying that as a math person, if the tribes are going in 7-5 and it is getting split 6-6, the only way El Norte has an advantage is if somehow 4 of their 5 people land on one tribe, which the odds are not in their favor to begin with. But I like swaps, and I think I'm speaking for production as a whole when I say, like, we want to give the players as much of an opportunity to control the game as possible. So giving them some kind of hand in how the swap was happening rather than it just being random felt to us like we are giving the people on El Norte who can kind of maneuver their way into this 3-3 tribe an advantage. And if you can get yourself over there, like, good on you. And same for Tokidoki. We knew it was going to be a fight to stay off of that tribe. So we knew we were kind of creating drama in that sense. And we wanted the players who were able to kind of maneuver the situations to the way they wanted them to get on the tribe that they wanted. So to us, it was just kind of a way for the players to control more of their own game rather than it just being some kind of random swap where likely El Norte doesn't have the majority on either tribe anyway.
Yeah, also, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe that like usually, at least the ones I was involved in, we always planned it out like way ahead of time. So like the how the swap was going to go down would have been determined like before the season started. And then we try not to like change big things like that, like when the merge will be, when the swap will be, how it'll work based on how the game goes. Even though at times I've actually advocated for doing so for what would make the best TV, I've always been outvoted by the gamesmanship people on production who feel that would be, you know, manipulating the game in a sense, and we don't want to do that. So
yeah, no, that's also 100% true. All the big twists like this, like when the swap's happening, how it's happening, when the merge is happening, any other things that are getting thrown in are set before the season, simply because like we don't even want there to be any kind of appearance of like us favoring certain contestants while it's going on. Because the second you start introducing like, oh, we're going to swap now, well, like the people, if you find that out after the season, could very well just be like, okay, you knew this person, if we stayed in these tribes, was going to get voted out, and you then just swapped to save them. So like having everything set right up front is just the best way to make sure that there's not even an appearance of that happening yet.
Now, if I can argue one point about Cooper's twist talk about not the everything should be planned beforehand, because obviously, like, how would they know El Norte would be garbage at challenges? Like, besides the fact that one side was business and business majors and the other side was art majors. But beyond that, how would they have guessed that one would be better at physical challenges? But the whole they should have a decision in the swap, I think, does incentivize gaming it in a way. Like, basically, Tokidoki was like, well, we want this big four that does trust each other to stick together, and then the three who leave can be the three who are on the outside. I think, and this is not to say you're wrong, Cooper. I'm just saying a random swap, there will be a majority of Tokidoki, but like, if the majority is Shannon, Kat, Jackson, and Aliza, like, is that going to be a tight four? Like, are those four going to be like, we're Tokidoki strong, we've been together since the beginning? Like, no, Shannon might be like, I hate Kat so much, let's get rid of her. I think when you have such a tight group of people who have won over and over, when they're forced to now work with people maybe they weren't getting as close to, it either strengthens different bonds or breaks it up. And I think people like Camilla or people like Katie or Nate could have had an opportunity to like dig their way into something that they might not have otherwise. And I think it could have given Camilla a reason not to be so focused on like, is Jack okay? I'm playing for both of us. It's like, well, now you don't have to worry because like you don't even know what's going on here.
Totally, I agree with that. I will just say, I mean, Kat and Shannon ended up on that tribe together, so they haven't gone to tribal, but like that could have been an interesting dynamic. And then like obviously Aliza goes home, so there was a crack in that eventually. Maybe not the week Camilla went home, but like there were cracks there. And Kat and Shannon and Ivy had to all agree to put themselves in the 3-3 majority. I honestly was shocked that both tribes came to some kind of consensus where people were willing to go to a tribe that they were in a worse position.
They just felt uncomfortable being quiet. They had no patience to sit around and not say something.
But I think that's a point too. If you like the people who are trying to play the game and do put themselves in the best position are the ones who are able to somehow like worm and like get themselves onto the tribe that's in the quote unquote better position for them, I would say. So I see both sides. Honestly, I do.
Aliza, I have a question. Something that I found kind of interesting in like the footage watching was I'm surprised that like you and Jack and Matthew didn't like. Did you guys not have a chance to try and like scheme it between the three of you, or is this like the scheme you agreed to? Like, I didn't find a lot of footage of either of the three of you guys talking about like how this would work out best for the three of you, even though I feel like at that point in time you were kind of thinking that way. Like, did you guys try to do that at all?
Yeah. So speaking on behalf of Matthew and myself, then maybe I think both of us wanted to keep doors open, both with Jack and his side and with Tokidoki. We didn't really want to have to make a choice until merge. And so I remember telling Jack, like, you should be on the 3-3 tribe because for some reason, everybody on Tokidoki thought Jack was like the biggest, baddest threat in the game. And so if Jack was put on the 4-2 tribe, he would have been immediately voted out, and it would have sent up so many red flags to have like fought for him or to like not voted him out or whatnot. And so I think collectively, maybe the three of us all thought it was actually safer. I mean, I think Jack also probably just wanted to be on the 3-3 tribe because he probably wouldn't want, we know he didn't want to be on the 4-2 tribe. But I think for Matthew and I also, it would have allowed us to not like play our cards so early. I mean, it would have been a really interesting hypothetical if Matthew, Jack, and I were all in the same tribe. But I think we didn't want to have to like make that like turning point until later in the game.
Yeah. In retrospect, do you feel like if you guys like just gotten on the same tribe and just like seized control basically of one of the tribes, would that have, I mean, I guess it probably obviously been better for you, I guess.
Yeah, definitely been better for me. I think especially once we swapped, I became really ready to flip. And I feel like in the past episode, I like ripped Jack a new one, but I feel like I was pretty ready. Like if I had made it one more round, I feel like I was pretty eager to flip and whatnot. And so I think when we were initially making the decision, I wasn't ready, but then soon after that I was. And so it would have been kind of fun to play something fun there.
All right, here's a question I think everybody could kind of weigh in on a bit, because I know Anders has had strong feelings about this topic in the past, which is, at what point did sort of like all the kind of like scary Ben, like Ben bomb sort of hype died down? Or was that still a thing up till when he was voted out of the game? Because it was a really big thing at the very beginning of the game. Obviously, he tells everybody, Aliza, you're telling everybody about it on your tribe. So, like, how much of an impact do you feel like that had on the game? And by the time Ben was voted out, did it really have any impact, like, at all? Or was it just kind of a thing? Like, do you think it was ultimately a good move on Ben's part to just drop that at the very beginning and then it had, like, faded away over time?
Can I say something on this before they tell the truth? It was okay. Ben coming in definitely had a horrible pass to bring up because it was going to come up either way. He played it horribly. One of the worst showings I've ever seen on it. Like, it's very much like it's going to come out, but you kind of have to do the thing where you completely lie about how much involved you were in all of this. Like, he basically said the worst parts of it. He's like, yeah, so, like, we bullied the shit out of this girl for the entire game, and then when I got voted out, I screen shared the entire thing and sent an email to everyone. It's
But
like,
how can you lie about it when the other 3 attorneys know? They're just going to tell the truth. Like, how?
Well, you deny. I don't know. How does anyone lie? You say things that are partially true. You go, I was in an alliance with people, and there was one person on the outs that we didn't get rid of, but the other people in the alliance were kind of mean at times, and I thought we were good, so I didn't really say anything about it. And then, like, none of his stuff was in the video, so the only people who can confirm he did anything are himself or the other players who were there. So he could just be like, oh, and they were doing these mean things, and then they were going after me. So I thought, it's not fair because you're just using this girl. Like, sympathize. I don't know, make up lies, but to be honest about how awful you were and what you did to betray your then alliance, like, I would be like, oh no. That being said, I like Ben way better this season because he didn't do this. It's great that he didn't have an alliance that was like, I want to push this girl down the stairs. Like, thank God they didn't have it. It's because they got rid of Aaron in episode 1. Is really why.
But how different is that from Shannon also saying that she'll like
because Shannon isn't, because Shannon's also like crying in her confessional, like, I can't believe I'm on with Kat. It's just different, I guess, because Shannon's just saying it to herself and like it's just going on rants about how much she hates everyone, and not so much like, I'm focused on this one girl who's the worst and I hate her and I want her to die and blah 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 blah. It's not a constant thing.
What do you guys think, Aliza, Camilla, having been in the game and such, about this?
Well, I feel like when I honestly, maybe like unpopular opinion, but I think that Ben did it, like, I think it was fine how he did it. Especially, like, I don't think he added, like, we bullied this girl. It felt like more like he was just like, yeah, like, I just leaked all the messages when I, like, was voted off. And, like, me hearing that, I was like, I would do the same exact thing if I could. Like, that sounds like the smartest move, especially, like, that you have phones. And, like, I think it was better that he told us all together the first day, like, his story, so that no one else could, like, if he would have told, like, some people, then it would, like, spread, like, why did he tell them and not me? Or, like, different stories would be spreading. And honestly, I feel like I got over it pretty quickly. I didn't, like, think about it very much. I was like, well, can't do that again. And it didn't, like, faze me so much. But I think that maybe it played a part specifically with, like, Megan. I feel like Megan never trusted him. And, like, starting from that, she never had trust in him. And then throughout the game, she didn't. And when she even found out that me and Jack were lying the whole time, I think that distrust in Ben, starting from that, forced her to want to tell Jack and I, because she still trusted us more than him. And so maybe it screwed it a little bit, but I don't know how big of a role played. That's just my take.
Yeah, I think from my side also, it didn't play a huge role because obviously we were never swapped or whatnot together. I think I used, like, what he did as a way of separating ourselves, because coming off a season where we played together, I think I really wanted, like, I think being like, oh, Ben and Aliza both played season 3, it's kind of like a really easy way to, like, pair two people together. And so I think coming into season 4, I wanted to make sure that I could, like, distance myself from Ben. So I probably, like, used that as a tool to do that. But I also think, like, on Ben, kind of maybe to Camilla's point, like, he's a really good social player and he's really good at talking to people and he's really fun and he's, like, really easy to get along with. And so I feel like, yeah, I think that, like, really, like, speaks to what Camilla was saying, that, like, I think he can really work his way out of a situation like that, where he can, like, announce the worst thing that he did maybe in his last season, but still kind of come back from it in certain ways.
It was kind of endearing. It was like, oh, crazy.
That endeared you to him?
He was just
One of my favorite, as I will say, like as an editor, like the scene where Ben tells them all about it, I thought was one of the best scenes of it just sets up the dynamic for all of those people. Like you can watch the scene and you get the vibe of every person in that circle, basically. Like Ben's coming out saying this crazy thing. Megan looks shocked and like disturbed. Aaron Murphy, season 4, Aaron looks like she has no idea what's going on. And Camilla is like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like you just get the vibe of all of those people just from that moment, from that scene.
You're like, oh, why is it banned? That is such an awesome thing. That's so funny. I mean, obviously like not the bullying part, but yeah.
So Cooper, I feel like you could probably answer this the best, which is the whole, Aaron
Kat really shaped
cheating,
Kat's game.
cheating scandal.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and maybe even Aliza can touch on this a little bit, but I don't think it had a huge effect. Well, I guess let me rephrase that. In terms of like when this came out, it was kind of between Adam or Kat for the vote, and people still voted out Adam like over Kat. So in that sense, like people weren't like, they didn't really be like, oh, we want you out of the game because of this. What it did kind of do for like Kat's game, I think up until this point at least, and we'll see if that carries forward, is like people kind of see her as this person who is never going to win. Like you kind of just see her as like, it's the person who like cheated and she isn't doing anything. She doesn't want to be here. Like that's Kat.
Yeah, up until this point, Kat's winner stock was real high, but then this really tanked it.
I'm not saying it was high, but I'm saying if this affected anything, it somehow lowered it. And that's about the effect that had on the game.
I feel like she's such a non-player that like finding this out was like it means nothing. Because like even if she somehow got the most valuable information, I'm sure she would have done nothing with it. No offense.
She was just like such a character that it's like it's not like this is the most shocking thing that she said,
I feel like she's honestly one of the most unique kinds of characters who we've ever had on Survivor Michigan, or really like because most of the time the people who care the absolute least are gone like first, but she also like films a ton of stuff. So like she has like all of her content is just how little she cares, but she's like there and she's very present.
No, she cares. She doesn't care to learn more.
Yeah, she's competitive in the sense that like she wants her tribes to win. She doesn't want to like lose. Like she's not actively trying to be voted out, but it's a very interesting dynamic. It's certainly not what you see that often on these shows.
One of my favorite Kat and Shannon moments, besides the Shannon crying, the whole like, I think we can be a trio, and then it cuts to her crying about being on a tribe with Ivy and Kat being like, I told them I didn't want. So funny. But the other one is like when Shannon's like, and Kat keeps talking about how she doesn't want to sew, like, haha, so quirky. And then it goes to like Kat being like, I've never watched this show. Isn't that weird? And it's just like, this is so funny because it's, I understand it completely, and I completely empathize with like Shannon's irritation, but also Kat doesn't give a shit. Kat doesn't care. It's great. I love Kat.
That dynamic was so funny. Was hilarious. And like, I mean, they're obviously still on the tribe together. Like they're still both in the game. So like,
I can't wait for them to be final two. I mean, what a duo.
Who knows where it goes from here? But like, oh my God, every one of Shannon's confessionals, I swear to God, that got uploaded, I was like constantly refreshing my page, being like, I cannot watch this fast enough because I know there's good Kat content in here every time.
Someone submitted the question, which was, how much footage do you have? How many hours of footage do you have of Shannon ranting about Kat? And I honestly couldn't come up with a number that was like high enough. Like sticking just to like the pre-merge episodes, I feel like it's got to be at least an hour, maybe more per episode. And maybe that's really underselling it, honestly. I'm not sure. Like
I love the idea that she just wakes up and just goes, I've got to film this real quick. I don't like I don't like Kat. Like, we know, girl.
You joke, but it happened.
There's also this is kind of a segue to a different question, which was there anything really interesting from the season so far that was like cut out, basically? And I just thought of this, which is the other thing Shannon has a ton of that was not really shown a lot just because there wasn't time for everything, is she also has probably equal amounts of footage talking about how hot she thinks Jackson is. in the especially in the pre-merge. Like she had a ton of confessionals about how like in love with Jackson she was, and like when she found out Jackson was like, you know, maybe flirting with Megan or whatever, she was like, well, now Jackson's dead to me. Like, I want him out now if he's not going to be getting with me. And like, this is a whole thing that did not really get shown because there simply wasn't time, but equally funny.
I will add on to that slightly that I think she thought he was very attractive, but also did not like his personality.
Yes.
And basically just like it was this constant like joke of like, wow, I think he's really attractive, but I want him out, but I also kind of want to keep seeing him, so I don't want to vote him out. It was like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, Shannon's confessionals were so good every time.
Shannon produces herself. That rant from this most recent episode where she goes, I don't care if nobody likes me. It's like, no one, where is this coming from? No one has said anything about you. Like, but this is a lot of projection.
But when you film all these things like shitting on people constantly nonstop, like obviously like it's like the way she does it is so funny, but like I imagine like you are the one doing that. You can see a world where you are getting an edit where people are like, who is this girl that's just like shitting on everybody, like blah blah blah, people are gonna hate me. Even though obviously everybody in the audience loves her, or at least they should.
Yeah, Shannon.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like I feel like another person who gives a lot of like those catty confessionals is Nate, and I also really like Nate.
Oh, I love Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of people with very
some
like
hate in the comments. I've seen some people who are like being like, you know, just bitching. I saw somebody say that bitching isn't a personality, and I was like, well, it kind of is though on one of these shows. To be honest, like I feel like it kind of is, and I stand by that. Nate actually also played a really good game the week of the Ben blindside. It just gets overshadowed by all the other crazy stuff's happening. But that man was gone. He was going home, and he like got them all to like all go after each other. Like even though it didn't end up the ideal situation for him, he still survived, which is like a lot something, you know.
I want to just jump on that to get more into my Megan hot take. I think Megan played that week the best because in my mind it was Megan and Nate were like on the bottom. It was one or the other, and like Camilla and Jack, they ran everything. Sometimes they would work with Ben and Katie, and it was like, whoop-de-doo, look at this. But then Megan was like, what if actually I'm the most powerful person in this tribe, but no one sees it? Because she somehow was in both of the original plans of, well, it's going to be Nate or it's going to be Ben. And then when everything was flipping, she went back to Camilla and Jack, or whatever, when it was going to be Jack and Nate. She went back to Camilla and Jack, was like, what if it's Ben? And then Jack convinced Ben, and then it was Ben. And Megan somehow was super close with Camilla now. And it was like, then Megan got rid of Camilla. Incidentally, I think it was also Jack's fault. And now Megan is great. She smiles, and she's getting further.
I actually agree with that. I feel like I didn't see that like when I was playing. It felt like Megan was kind of just like, it didn't feel like such a big thing for Megan. It felt like really big for Jack. And Jack did play that week so well, especially like going and talking to Ben, and that was spectacular how he got them to like actually vote for Nate again. But it definitely did work out the best for Megan.
Also, this is an incredible point. Everyone on Tokidoki was like, Megan's in such a bad position. Let's give her the idol clue. Oh, I'm Jackson. Let me go talk to someone who's not going to have a lot of power. And then goes talk to Megan. It's like, Megan is getting everything she wants and more, and it's like, but no one's looking at Megan. There was a little bit in this last episode. It's like, Megan smiles too much. I don't know if we can trust her. It's like, that's not a reason to vote someone out. I stand by my feeling that Megan is going very far in this game, and if she's not, something better happen that's worse. I don't know.
Here's a question I think is kind of interesting, because I saw this a little bit online as well, which is that like, it was somehow unfair that Aliza got their idol, that this wouldn't happen in like real Survivor, and maybe it should have been like taken from her or something by production. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I think that's just part of like playing Survivor at college. It's like Survivor and real Survivor, you can have phones. You can't text people and not actually meet them. Like it's just part of a different atmosphere. And props to you. That was cool.
Day 2, I mean, that's honestly insane.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of shocked that nobody else from my tribe thought to look on Central Campus, because I don't think any of us were all too familiar with North. And I feel like I day one spent a night up at North, and I was like, never again, and spent the rest of my time on Central Campus. So I was kind of surprised that nobody else like thought about it. But yeah, that was fun.
Go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No, I'm done.
Speaking from personal experience, watch Survivor Maryland season 7. If you're allowed to cross-tribal communicate, why shouldn't idols be allowed to be held by whoever finds them? Like, the idols aren't just, there's not a big neon sign saying idol here. It's like you have to look. I don't know how Aliza found it so quickly, but she did. She deserves it.
I spent 8 hours looking in the freezing cold Michigan winter.
And then you didn't use it.
Did you consider using it? You never considered using it, right?
No, I never thought I was going home that week. They got me. Props to them. There was like a moment I remember like right as we were lining up for tribal council, when like we came up the stairs kind of in a staggered fashion to show that we weren't all together, Jackson, Dale, and Matthew and I. And Matthew and I went up first. And Matthew was like, Dale kind of said something weird to me in the car, but then Jackson and Dale came up, and it was like end of conversation. Oh. So if we like had maybe like 30 more seconds, maybe it would have been a different story. But otherwise, no, they like nailed it.
Going back a bit, can any of you guys think of anything that either you filmed or like you were involved in during the season that was like really interesting that didn't make it, that you I guess wanted to see in there or anything like that?
Yeah. Me and Cooper's love story.
I knew you were going to say this.
If there was footage of that, I would have put it in, but there like wasn't. I don't know. I think it was like a little off camera.
Camilla, you always did it off camera. Is the thing.
Well,
you waited until the cameras were off.
Serious.
When are you guys going to explain this also?
The love story?
Yeah, because people watch this are going to be like, what are they talking about?
Oh, geez, I don't even know how it started. Maybe it was Shawn Mendes?
Probably.
It was just like whenever like we stopped filming during tribal. I went to tribal quite a lot. It was always like, so Cooper, do you like Shawn Mendes? And we just bonded. There's just a lot of really beautiful moments. I'm surprised no one was filming.
There's a lot of downtime between like when people were voting and like coming in and out of tribal, blah, blah, blah. So like Camille and I filled the time, and we just flirted back and forth and talked about Shawn Mendes a lot. Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah, but I guess next, like if I were played again, but you're not, whatever.
No, they'll bring me back. I'll just like we'll wait for an online season or something, and I'll play, and then it's us two, final two.
Yeah. Written in the books, or written in the stars for us.
Written in the books, baby.
Write it down. Aliza, was there anything you wanted to see that was not included that you remember happening that didn't make it?
Yeah. Some of I feel like the funnier moments for me from season 4. Well, there was one, and I don't even know if I recorded a confessional about it, because I think I was like so embarrassed, but 2 days after the watermelon challenge, a doctor told me I had mono. And this is like after I just slapped spit with everybody on Tokidoki and Eric Reichenbach. And I was like mortified thinking I gave everybody mono. And I didn't get mono, so it was fine. But aside from that, I think my other kind of fun moment was there was one scene where I remember Dale and I were meeting, and he was like, I think you have the idol. And I was like, I think you have the idol. And we were both sitting there like denying having the idol, but both of us were actually sitting there like with an idol in our pocket. And I thought, like, I remember coming back and being like, Dale, like, this is like, we're just both sitting here like denying that we like both have these things. And I remember I like thought it was a funny confessional or something. Yeah.
Touching on the Eric Reichenbach stuff, when I saw you guys were getting him, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then it was a watermelon challenge. I'm like, this is fucked up. This is, first of all, I didn't know it was individual watermelons at first. I was like, you're gonna make them have a communal watermelon where they're all gonna shove their faces in. Like, I get it. You're on college. There can be swapping spit, but not like this. This is insane.
I want to add, or finish first. Sorry.
It's so gross. It's the worst challenge.
It's so gross. It's so freaking disgusting. But on top of that, the worst part is that the thing that we were on, like the field was just all mud. And so as we're running, it sounds all sloppy and it sounds like that's our mouths like making those noises. I feel like
I'm muted. No, I wasn't.
There was, by the end of it, there was like watermelons that just looked brown. Like they were like covered in mud. And people, you could see like people like looking like this and then going in for bites.
Wait, the grossest part was that like Nate had a nosebleed during it. Like,
oh my god!
There's blood, watermelon, but you're putting in our mouth. It was disgusting, like on so many levels.
Did Eric suggest this challenge, or did you really?
No, God no.
Oh no, we completely surprised Eric with this challenge. We said, "Come on in. You're gonna be like just eating watermelon with these people," and he was. Eric's amazing, honestly. The fact that he just like hopped in and was just like, absolutely.
Can you give a brief story about how we ended up with Eric?
Yes, the very brief story is that basically Eric at some point wanted to have his own, like host his own like kind of live Survivor game for like a week or so, like over the summer. And so he knew that there was a Survivor Michigan like on campus. He lives in Ann Arbor. So he actually reached out to us and was like, hey, do you like have any interest in helping me with this like project? I want to try to run a Survivor game. It never ended up happening, but we like got in contact that way. So we ended up reaching out to him and we're like, hey, would you ever like come for a challenge or like be on the show or whatever? And he was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So we just like, we're like, okay, like we'll have you for a challenge. So come on in. And we obviously chose like this horrible challenge for him to compete in because we thought it would be hilarious. So
what a cruel
he was a good
thing
sport
to do
about
to
it.
that man. Well, look, if there are any Maryland, Virginia, or DC Survivor players who want to do Maryland, just hit us up on any of our socials. We'll gladly have you for a challenge that isn't watermelon. Also, to watch us during COVID of all time, I was like, this is where it started. This is disgusting. This is awful. I feel like I have COVID now.
Somebody said that in the comments of the episode. I think there was literally a comment in like episode, 4? Is like, this is where COVID started. And I died laughing.
So another thing that I got a lot of people asking was, would either Camilla or Aliza consider playing another fan-made Survivor or going on real Survivor even if they would have you?
You want to go? Okay.
Go for it. You first.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely play either or again. I feel like in my life I do want to play real Survivor, but I don't know when. I don't know. Maybe I'll apply soon. It just feels hard, like in college. It's just kind of like crazy to think about. Just because all my life I was always like, I'm gonna play Survivor, duh. But then like you get to the age where like you could play Survivor and you're like, well, geez, when? Like YouTube? Like I don't know.
Anders, make it happen. Can't you like pull some strings or something now? Like
Yeah.
Oh
Cooper.
yeah, you're
I
a
can
final say on all
100%
casting,
pull some
right?
strings.
Yeah, but I would also play again at Michigan anytime in my life. I love this game. It's the most fun I ever had was playing it here, even if it was for however long I was on. It was the most fun of my life.
Camille, you're my winner pick when you come back.
Thank you.
No spoilers.
Cooper, who's your winner pick for this season? Let's ask that question.
Ahead of time?
Actually, I probably had a winner pick before the season. I'll try to remember who that is.
It wasn't me.
Camilla?
I don't think it was me. I feel like I remember hearing about it, and I was really shocked to hear it wasn't me.
If I could have done one after like week 1, it would have been you.
Really?
Probably. Honestly, you would have been up there.
Oh my god, is it getting hot in here or what?
I think my winner pick was, I want to say I picked Aliza. Honestly, I do. She just come off a really good game in season 3, but I knew she wasn't gonna be considered a threat out of the returnees. So like, honestly, like I thought Aliza.
Male. The rest of them were so confident because they were like, "We're hot shit."
It's how they come off though. Like Matthew reeks sketchy. Like I'm pretty sure
It's
Aliza
so funny
has
'cause
a.
He didn't make merge his first season. Look, I'm a big Matthew fan. The threat
It's
isn't
just
there
something
from
about
like
talking to him, like
It's because he's all game, like no social game.
Yeah, and Ben had just come off that like Ben's pass was still like very much following him from season 3, and I knew that was going to come up. So like Aliza and Jack to me were the returnees who would be able to like kind of slip under the radar, who had actually done the best out of the 4 like coming back. So like I had very high hopes for both of them, but Aliza especially.
Before Aliza answers the question that was originally asked, 20 minutes ago, about if she would play again, I want to say something about Jack real quick. Jack is so funny. He has main character syndrome so badly in this season, where it's like, especially in this last episode, it killed me. He, out of nowhere, he's like, I'm not out of this game. I'm not out of it. It's like, girl, calm down. No one said you were. What's this anger? I didn't say anything to you. Like, Jack really thinks that it's about him, and it's like, to me, in this story, Jack, you are not the main character. That doesn't mean you're not playing and you're not important, but like, when I think of that tribe, I don't view it as like, what's Jack doing? What's everyone doing with Jack? Like, I focus on Camilla and then Jack. It's like,
who do you think is the main character?
Megan, Shannon, and then Jack. But Jack is very much like, oh, but I've got these alliances and like, it's about me. It's like, well, I hope you feel that way.
That's why Camilla and Jack were so good as a partnership. They both wanted to be the main character.
I met him and I was like, wait, we are the same. He was the main character in my book.
Your discussion with the corn when you guys were texting was really funny.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad I recorded that. And I also like never imagined it would like be put in. And my friend was like, this is just for production. Like, you're welcome. And I was so glad it was this whole thing. And like how it was framed, like with everyone like talking about me. She's an alpha B. And then like,
Shannon. Whoa, Shannon's saying something positive about us. I'm glad I'm not on Shannon's shit list yet.
Yeah, there's still time. Wait, so Aliza, would you do Real Survivor? Like, would you come back?
Yeah, 100,000%. Playing like real like CBS Survivor is like top bucket list. I had a whole plan. I thought like after I graduated, I joined the Peace Corps, and my plan was like, there's never been a returned Peace Corps volunteer on Survivor. Like I had thought it out. I was like, this is my route in. And then things kind of went shit. But yes, 100% I would play Survivor.
When Anders is executive producer and they do the all college Survivor season on CBS Survivor, then
yes.
when we're all 30.
I'm fine. 30 is totally a good number. I feel like 30 is like a statistically good number to win. Also, that's how much I thought this through as well.
Yeah, college students don't win Survivor.
I'm trying to look and see if there's any of the major questions we did not. Someone wants to know which burgers were worse, the White Castle burgers or the burgers Aaron made in season 3. But there's no crossover where people had.
Oh my god!
I don't know what the answer is to that. But
I gotta say, the White Castle editing scene was also like editing gold. Well done. That was really
I want to talk about Tom. His death is long gone, but first of all, him being a Maryland superfan, thank you, Tom. We're a big fan of you. I'm so sad that he had a fake idol. Was that made by you, Aliza, or was that made by, I forget who the fake idol was made by? Ben, classic. I wish Tom had truly just gone full chaotic. It's so sad he just sort of sat at Tribal and didn't say anything, because I wish he would have held up the idol and said, I have an idol, I'm going to play it. Like, I know everyone thinks I'm sketchy, and I'm sorry that this is just going to prove it. Like, well, I have a question for you, Camilla. Like, if Tom had whipped out an idol and said, I'm playing it, like, what would you have all done? Would you have been like, whatever, bye, Tom?
We all knew it was fake. It was like Tom was just very like, he was crazy in the best way. I remember Jack, like, everyone was just because he was just playing like way too hard for like the level we were all at the moment. I remember when they got that clue or something, he was like suggesting if you should pee on it, get a UV light, all these crazy ideas. And we were like, we are just not playing the same game. And I thought we all thought he was going to play it too. But
I will say Tom, he gets this rap for having this crazy strategy that makes no sense, but he did like the rounds of podcasts. He went on the LRG podcast. He went on the Keep Your Torch Lit. And actually, if you hear him out all the way, which I did, in his own little universe, it does actually all kind of make sense. But you have to like accept a number of
Girl, you have to. Your internal logic has to work at least.
Yeah, you have to accept a lot of premises that like most people wouldn't accept to begin with. But once you accept those, like he saw the entire game as like the original rooms basically versus each other. Like he saw the entire game as like him, Jack, and Megan, and whoever else, and Aaron versus the other four. So if you accept that from the get-go, which no one else was doing, then it makes a little bit more sense.
It was just kind of tough because also like he had so much going on that when you spoke to him, you were like, I don't even know if I know what's going on in this game. Like, so much changes every hour with him. It was great.
This has not occurred yet, but it may happen in the future, depending how long Matthew lasts. But so keep your eyes peeled for the answer to this one.
I also want to talk about Adam really quick because I love the episode. First of all, I love when he brings together that four with Aliza in it, him, Jackson, and Kat, because it's like, if I were to think of a like prototypical superfan mistake when playing this game for the first time, it's like, I'm a fan of this game. I know what it takes to be a winner. I'm going to create alliance just based on these qualities and not the social aspect. It's so funny that he just made an alliance without telling any of you, and it's like, I'm sure you wonder why I brought you here. And you're like, yes, why would you do this? This is not how you play the game. I mean, what was that like? Really, what was it honestly like to live through that?
That was it, honestly, I mean, and also love Adam. I think he's awesome. But it was really funny because I remember he was like, do you want to meet up? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he's like, cool, Jackson's going to be there. And I was like, okay, like Jackson's going to be there. Good to know. And then I think in like the edit, it showed also Jackson like walked outside and there was Kat. And I also had no idea that Kat was coming. And so we all, like, we were never, any of us were told that like the other person were going to be there. And suddenly we're all there in this room. And he's like, so we're in alliance? And we're like, we're not going to say no. And then the whole thing with the video got the Coleman bitch like video was shown. I think looking back on it, it's just really funny. But it was such like a random kind of group of people from Tokidoki, and it was kind of like funny to all be like thrown in the room and to be like, okay, I guess this works. But meanwhile, I don't think anyone was actually thinking like, yeah, this is what we should do.
I just want to add really quick that honestly, if Adam had tried, he could not have. The only worst combination of three people who were like so disconnected on Tokidoki would have been like,
and Kat.
Yes, Shannon, Jackson, and Kat, because like obviously Shannon and Kat just like that would have been, and then Shannon and Jackson had their whole thing that isn't really included, but like is going on behind the scenes, and then like Kat and Jackson just have. I mean, Jackson has zero interest in working with Kat, so like he couldn't have found a much worse combination than what he picked, which was even like the funnier part, honestly.
Yeah.
What a king.
That was also edited really well, I have to say. That was funny.
And we got most of your. Do you have any other like big takes? You know, what are your big predictions? How's it gonna all shake out? Because we all know.
Oh, you want my predictions for the merge?
Yeah.
Oh,
how's it gonna shake out?
Here we go. I can give you big.
Who's winning? Who's the final two or final three? Like, what's happening?
Based on edit, I don't think there's a chance in hell Katie will ever win this game. Same with Kat. I mean, just even this conversation, it's so clear to me Kat is a character and not a player. I think Ivy is one of those people who just didn't film things, so that's why she's not really there as much as she could be. I could see her going very far.
I'm completely fine just openly saying that Ivy did not film as much as you would want someone to film, but that has no impact on like how far she's going to go in this game based on like her edit thus far. I will say, she just didn't film
I'm saying that, Ian. You're asking about my predictions, not what you're saying.
Sorry, I just want to put that out there.
Look, I think that the people I don't want to see win that could potentially, I could see Jack winning in like a world where this is terrible and awful. Jackson and Dale are like we're really good at this game, and we're guys, and we're working together. We're business, hey, and we're law, whatever. Those three could win in the worst way possible. In the same that, like last season, I was like, oh no, it is shaping up to be this. I admit I didn't. This was not my. He was not my favorite guy to win. I wanted Aaron to win, honestly.
Well, so did we, but a Dylan win was
Look, I
Perfectly
guess of the
timed by
final
me.
4, yeah, I'm happy Dylan won. But like at the beginning of Merge, he's not who I wanted to win for much different reasons than Dale, Jackson, and Jack. I don't see Matthew winning because I love him, slimy. I could see Shannon winning. I could see Ivy winning. I could see Megan winning. Nate, people don't like him, but I love him. Here's my opinion on Ivy, and this may be just my perception or my projection of it. I think that she's quiet. She's obviously not as into the game as other people, but she does know how to play this game. She did kill Ben, which is what she wanted to do. Like she did. She murdered him. Put that in big bold letters. Ivy murdered Ben. No, but she talked to him, got his information, spread it. It got back and ruined his game. That was her point. She didn't want him around. And I mean, like, yeah, she's also kind of, the Nate situation is weird, but she never had to do anything about it. So if anything, she's built an alliance with 2 additional people in the original Tokidoki. She has Nate. She potentially has Megan or Jack. Like, Ivy has set herself up in a way with very little threat and a lot of potential. And I think that you cannot sleep on Ivy the way you can sleep on a cat. I think that she has a lot of potential, and I would love to see her succeed. But I can also see a world where Dale, Jackson, or Jack go, women? Nah. Get out of here. Onto the jury with you.
Well,
What?
we'll
I
have
didn't
to
hear a
see.
winner pick in there.
I didn't hear winner
I'm going to
pick
go winner
either.
pick Shannon. I think Shannon's, if we're going purely edit style, Shannon has been a narrator. She's given a lot of personality. You're getting her opinion on things, even though she's never going to tribal. There's a lot of negativity, but not towards her, just about her, which doesn't make her less of a potential winner. You can't edit around the fact that she complains about Kat 24 hours a day. I mean, look at Kat. That is rent-free shit going on. Like, Kat says nothing, and all of that's all Shannon could think about. So I see Shannon going very far. Either that or it's fucking Jackson.
Who?
Jackson's getting the Will edit. I'll say that. There's so much Jackson content.
Oh, he has good content.
He has a lot of good content, to be fair.
To be fair, like every word Jackson or Shannon, honestly, half this cast, like Camilla, like Aliza as well, like honestly, like a ridiculous number of people in this cast have hours of good content that was not included, just because all their confessionals were just so funny, honestly. So that's just kind of how it was. It's spoils of riches, I guess.
Which is why
True.
so much of Jackson makes me think that there's a reason. Why, Cooper? You were making faces during all of that.
No, I was also starting to think of other people who I would add to Ian's list, but then I was basically just naming the whole cast and was just going to comment that, like, this cast easily, when I was hosting, had the best confessionals, like, hands down. Hands down, like, you could just, like, watch a random confessional that someone would just, like, upload from the season, and you would just laugh for, like, a straight, like, hour or however long they were filming. Like, absolute gold the whole time.
Erin, who went out first this season, had tons of good confessionals that didn't make it in because there literally wasn't a time to like really justify like giving her that much content when she wasn't going to be in the rest of the show. But she had some great ones that did not make it in. So,
Aliza, can you tell me what your opinion of Ivy was in the game? Because I feel like I've only gotten my own feelings about her, but I haven't heard a lot of people speak on Ivy.
Yeah, I really like Ivy. I think Ivy's really great. I think maybe she didn't give off the vibes that she was like the most invested in the game as much as like some other people did. But I don't know. I liked Ivy a lot. I feel like I would have liked to have worked with her. I think she had good relationships with most people, but I don't think she was most people's, like, at least from Tokidoki, most people's number one. But I think maybe Nate might be the exception to that. But I think everybody, like, Ivy was always included, like, in everything when people would talk about, like, alliances and who wanted to work with who and whatnot. I feel like Ivy was always there.
Yeah, I feel good with my Shannon pick. I think I think you starting with she's great, she's good is enough of an indication to go, all right, I don't know if she would win. You never describe someone that's actually good as good. You go when it's like they were friendly.
No, Ivy was really okay. I didn't like.
He's trying to like weasel. He's trying to
No,
like
no, no.
weasel
I'm
the
trying to get.
answers out
I
of us
wanted
right
to
now.
know
He's
who
trying to
the
survivor
on
us.
Ivy was, because if it's Ivy was a nice person, that is not someone who wins the game. I just like there has to be more of a descriptive feeling about someone for them to be, in my opinion, a winner. Like Ivy can go far, but she won't win. Like if you're feeling your initial thought of Ivy is she's just nice, she won't win. That's not me taking information that like there's some secret. It's just like, come on. Is that like how would you describe any of the winners? Like, you wouldn't start with nice.
There are winners who the only
Mallory.
way I would describe them is nice. Mallory.
That's the first word you would use?
Mallory? Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Also, just to like remember, like pre-merge Tokidoki was like a weird place. It's not like anyone was doing anything too crazy. Like, you know, like we were not losing much, so there wasn't like a need to be anything other than nice. Is honestly what probably would have got you to merge.
Okay, Aliza, I have a question similar to Anders. What did you / Tokidoki people think of Shannon? Because what Shannon gave off in the game, I feel like was very different than what production saw in her confessionals and what the audience is seeing.
Yes, I love Shannon. Shannon is awesome. And Shannon is not like ripping people to shreds when she talks to them like in real life, maybe as she did in some of these confessionals, but I am totally team Shannon. I think she's so great and she's so funny and she's very like personable and like very real. And so I think that she's like, I don't know, I think she's really awesome. And I think everyone like really, really liked her. I think she was also probably included in most conversations that people were talking about with alliances. I feel like an alliance that was like low key on Tokidoki was me, Shannon, Dale, Jackson, and Matthew. And that was kind of like a five that never really needed to do anything, but it was kind of like a reality. And I think Ivy was always kind of pulled into that as well. But yeah, totally team Shannon. Shannon was probably like one of my closest allies in the game when I was in, so.
Camilla, can you tell me a little more about Katie? Because I feel like maybe the edit has been fair, or maybe it's like she just hasn't been as much of a focus. Because like, why would she need to be? There's Ben, and then there was you, sort of in the way. Is Katie more than she has let on thus far, from your perspective?
I love Katie.
Okay, nope, she's not.
You know, I think that honestly, when I was in the game with Katie, I saw like maybe a different side of Katie than like watching it. I think I really appreciate her a lot more, especially this last episode. But I feel like when I was with her in the game, it felt like a lot like it was the Ben Katie duo, especially. But it felt a lot like Ben was leading this duo. Katie's so nice, and she's so she's really just funny. And a lot of times, like in tribal, she would like sometimes start a sentence and it would never go anywhere. And so a lot of times it was like, oh, Katie's just so silly. So I never really thought of Katie as like a big threat. But especially this last episode, when she needed to step up, she definitely did step up. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit our fault for, I guess, the way we've been having the conversation. But I feel like even though Dale and Jackson obviously flipped on you, Aliza, like Katie was majorly instrumental in that and should definitely be given a lot of props for one of the better survivals of someone who was completely on the bottom 1 to 4 and like made it out of that in a much better position than they went in.
Yeah,
so,
I give a lot of props to Katie. I think she's really intuitive and really smart, and I think she definitely like worked herself out of a pickle that week. So like this is maybe against the rules, so sorry, Cooper, but I texted Katie after I got voted out and was like, Katie, I'm rooting for you. Like, don't
give her that penalty vote.
Yeah, don't let his voice control you. I don't know. I think one like social kind of construct about playing Survivor is I think that women are never perceived to be playing as smart as sometimes people talk in the same ways about the men. And I think that was something that really like, and like I even fall victim to it too. And so I think it's something that like really rings true, and especially like maybe even this season of Survivor Michigan, and that like the ways that maybe sometimes the women were talked about versus how the men were talking about wasn't actually intuitive of what was like going on behind the scenes and how perceptive people actually were or how much power people actually had.
I was literally about to, before the question was asked to you, going to ask, because this is something I noticed too, is a little bit of gender bias going on with like Dale, Jackson, and Matthew are clearly seen as the strategists, like the core, the powerful players. But it's like on the other side, we have Shannon, Kat, and Ivy, who are, a budding trio who are playing the game. And I feel like this is not a dig on the editing. This is just more of maybe the edit reflecting how the other players were being, of how they viewed everyone. But I guess from both of your perspectives, like, do you feel that the women are being not disregarded, but maybe like pushed to the side in terms of their contributions to the strategy or how much they're playing, or the trajectory of the season? Do you feel like maybe the focus on the men is less of an indication of their own dominance over the game, and rather just like a reflection of maybe how you perceived it?
I guess, yeah, I definitely feel that I agree with like Aliza and everything she was saying, and that like women aren't really perceived as like strong strategic players. And I feel like I remember after coming off my season, I know this is like stupid, but like everyone was saying, I never even thought the alpha phi thing was like a thing, like, or my sorority was included. And I love the edit. I think it's awesome. And I also know I'm like a funny like character. But I did feel like a little confused, because in my mind, I felt like I was playing like a strong game, like really strong social game, and like was in a really good position in my tribe. And then like afterwards, like when I would talk about it, I almost felt like, especially like talked about it to producers, I felt embarrassed to like pretend, not pretend, like I did play a good game, but I felt like talking about it like I had played a good game felt wrong, because maybe they saw me as like not that way, and they had watched, because I remember hearing people talk about like how, I didn't know it was a big deal, but people told me before it came out, like, oh, the sorority thing, like, got you too, like, Lucia told me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I automatically felt like very like, oh, maybe I was just, I don't know. I could feel like sometimes things about girls outshine their actual, like, my actions. And I love the edit still, but yeah, I definitely feel that maybe.
You feel like you were reduced to the sorority, as opposed to like you got out based on your own strategic mistakes?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I definitely, especially with the Benvo, I feel like you could definitely see I was playing the game a lot, and I think a lot of people saw that. It just like, especially in the beginning, I was kind of scared that I was like, oh, is this all I'm gonna be? Just this sorority girl who likes to flirt with people. And I know it's like not all that, but especially like even hearing other people from like the other tribes, I know like some people made comments like, oh, she's so dumb and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not dumb. And like the only reason you're saying that is because maybe I'm pretty. Like I didn't do anything to be dumb. So it's definitely a stigma just towards women in general that it's definitely felt.
One thing I would say to you, Camilla, is I'm sure you haven't, but things that like the producers say should not be taken with any kind of like really serious, like, just if you come out of the game and you're like, I played a good game, and you have producers who are saying to you, you didn't play a good game, you played the game. Like they like ultimately the producers are kids who are only kind of paying attention some of the time and are like,
yeah. And did any of them win?
What?
Did any of the producers win?
At that point in time, I don't believe so.
No, the answer is no.
No, exactly. Like, I think don't like, the game you played. You don't have to take what any of the producers say about it, I feel like.
Thanks.
Yeah, the one thing that I will add is, I think I said it a little bit earlier too, but honestly, after week 1, I think you were most of production's winner pick from there, kind of just like seeing where everybody was at in their like initial tribes. And I think that was the pretty general consensus. So I don't know if who you like had talked to, or like after the season that was like saying you hadn't played a good game, but I don't think that's the perception of your season, at least for me, or the people who I've talked about it with.
Thanks, Cooper. It means a lot. Seriously. So yeah, Aliza, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I honestly forgot what the initial question was, but I would say.
Do you feel like you were, as a woman, or do you feel like women or you in this game were downplayed strategically because of gender perceptions, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think I came in on a different note as a returnee, because I mean, I wasn't like on the base level as other people, but I think this season, like, I remember being frustrated specifically with how much the word dumb was thrown around to women. And I think part of it is because, like, especially I think on Tokidoki is maybe very different from how it was in El Norte. But, and I want to say, like, nothing against Dale, Jackson, and Matthew. Like, they were dealt the same hand as, you know, like, they were put on the same tribe. Like, they're great people, like, the whole 9 yards. But they were all, like, the oldest people in the tribe. They're, like, the lawyers and the business students. And they have just, like, you know, this like aura of them that takes up a big part of a room. And so I think like I just remember that being something that I was really frustrated about. And I feel like I remember talking to other women on my tribe and like all of us being kind of frustrated about it. And I don't think it's like a thing that was specific to Tokidoki. Like I think it's kind of like, you know, perception is really everything. And we all do have these gender biases within our own minds. And so even if like Dale, Jackson, and Matthew don't have any more power than the rest of us, it's like they're perceived and they're automatically given more power and people just like see them that way. And so I think that was something that like a lot of people fell victim to, including myself or whatnot. And so I don't know. I mean, now my answer is kind of getting convoluted, but I think that through the edit, we can like see as well how like Camilla was playing really smart and how Katie is so much more intuitive than anybody ever thought and like, you know, like shouldn't be like maybe described with certain words that were used to describe her during the edit or whatnot. And same with Megan with like on what Anders was just saying about how great she's playing and how much of an instrumental role she played in voting out Ben. So I think sometimes it's like men maybe like the men of this season maybe got a lot of credit when the women are doing kind of these under the radar moves that are really great. But I think when a woman sticks her neck out, also she's more likely to be like perceived as sneaky or whatnot. So I don't know. That was a long answer, but
I mean, because it was just something I noticed while watching. It's like I look at all this and I go, when I was looking at El Norte, I'm like, yeah, I see Katie more as an extension of Ben, less because like man woman, but more because Katie was, you know, edited as a sidekick character. But like I looked at Camilla as like she was the big player here. Like, yeah, Jack spoke a lot, but I viewed as Camilla like she's the one narrating what's going on and like very strategic. And I loved you, Camilla. It was so good. It was like it was plenty of the fun flirtiness, but it was also like you clearly were very invested in the game and playing it. So it wasn't like you were just doing whatever anyone was telling you. It was like, I'll make these decisions, but I want to work with specifically Jack. And like, obviously, big Aliza fan from last season, so seeing you come back was great. But obviously, like, in this last episode, the decision to get rid of you is, well, you know, the strong people will be targeted at the merge, so we've got to get rid of the social threat now. It's like, I mean, how many of these merge challenges are going to be lifting heavy things? Like, I think that's just an excuse to, well, we shouldn't get rid of Matthew because he'll be targeted for being strong. It's like, I think Aliza would be targeted regardless at the merge. That's what happened last time. Like, in fact, she'd be more of a target than whatever. But, you know, I look at Shannon, I look at Megan especially, and it's just like, I feel like I see something that isn't as radically clear as maybe if you were to say Jackson strategic or Dale strategic. Like, could anyone really point out what's something that Matthew has specifically done in the season to define him as like a strategist? What has Dale done that's super specific of like controlling the game? Like Jackson, I can say at least formed this bond with Megan and was looping the information that way, screwing over Camilla, doing whatever. Megan was playing it this way. Shannon, Ivy. I mean, like, to me, not to speak and be the whatever, but, you know, I watch and I go, I don't understand how these three are the strategists when it's like, I can tell you exactly what Megan,
I
Ivy.
do think that you're answering your own question a little bit in that it was kind of not totally shown for drama reasons, but I think at this point in time, they did consider Aliza a much stronger strategist and player than Matthew. And that was part, like, they were just genuinely much more terrified of her than Matthew at this point if they were going to go after one of them. Like, not even just because of the whole like meat shields versus, they were just like, she is much scarier to us as a concept existing than Matthew is. So, I mean, just in that one instance, I think that she was viewed as a stronger player than Matthew at that moment in time.
Plain and simple, I think, I don't know whether there was a confessional on it that was in the episode or not in the episode, but plain and simple, I think they both said at one point, like, Aliza's going over Matthew because she is the better player and more dangerous coming to merge, like, plain and simple.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Aliza?
I definitely think that my situation very specifically was different from the other women in the game coming in as an attorney and whatnot. But I think, like, my point maybe was more on like, you know, like when you see the edit, you see all these things about Katie and Camilla and how great they were playing and Megan and whatnot. But in real time, the way people perceive things is not that way. So like we know Jack and Camilla are a duo, but meanwhile, Jack gets all the credit for everything all of the time, is what I'm saying.
I totally agree with that. Like specifically, like I remember after I was voted out and like after the whole season unfolded, all that stuff, like talking to people from our season, I really felt the vibe that like everyone, not everyone, but like a lot of people on the other tribe especially viewed me as like dumb. Like that, not that was a big deal. Not that anyone was mean, but like, you know what I mean? Especially like people who hadn't seen the season already, like had this perception of who I was on the show, because obviously they haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like uncomfortable. I don't know, just being like thinking of yourself in like some great way, and then like hearing other people like thinking of you as like none of that. So it was really great when the season came out because I was like, now you will all know what I have known forever.
No, I don't think there's anyone questioning you now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it was 100% internal biases on behalf of like the cast or whatnot, and like that's kind of why these like perceptions were shaped the way that they are. Because I don't know, I could go on and on.
Great. Okay, I'm changing my winner pick in this case. I'm gonna change it to Jackson. Not because I think he'll play the best game, but I think everyone in the season, in the jury, will think that. Here's all right. I'm creating a scenario. Shannon Jackson, final two. They give Jackson too much credit.
Don't bring this into the world, Anders.
I mean, we're not gonna.
You're gonna get like hate comments here. What is this?
I'm gonna get hate comments for saying it. Prove me wrong.
You'll have to watch and find out. I don't know what to tell you.
But
does anyone else have anything they really want to get to?
What was that?
Oh, wait, I have a question actually. Aliza's idol gone. Does it come back in the game or just bye?
Oh, someone's actually asking something similar to this, which is like I've seen this before, basically, like because it hasn't been shown a lot. Were there still idol clues hidden every challenge? And the answer is there were, and people were finding them and looking for them, but they obviously weren't finding anything. So like they're just like these episodes were like so compact that it wasn't really just worth putting in like 5 minutes of people fruitlessly searching for an idol, unless it actually led to something. Like the Megan idol clue then led to this whole drama of Megan giving them the clue, and that makes Ben not trust them, so that needed to be included. But like Tokidoki, there's times where like Matthew or Jackson or somebody like or Shannon. There's one where on New Tokidoki, the New El Norte, Shannon and Megan like find an idol clue. It's obviously the idol Aliza already has, and they like look for it for like an hour. It's just not worth including ultimately, I think.
Put in the full hour, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, Anders, we did not rehide that idol. So as Aliza said in her like exit interview, I hope it haunts them forever. It very well might. I guess that's something you'll have to see. But yeah, it didn't go back in the game.
That's why. Was there ever going to be a swap idol or no?
No, probably not.
That's the real rigging that should have happened. You should have been like, there's a swap idol now. Uh-oh, I hope Camilla doesn't find it.
You should have done that.
Just sat it like on her chair that she was coming to for tribal, being like, what's this?
When I saw the shot of like that, I don't know what that weird ring was, and it like zoomed in, I said, oh, is this where the new idol is hidden? And I was like, it's Cooper's party. It's like, of course. Classic Michigan kids and their parties.
As if it didn't happen in Maryland.
Yeah, but it's different. We wouldn't advertise I was throwing a party.
I want to come very strongly on the record and say that I always my input is that don't include these clips. Ian puts them in the episode because people do talk about them, and it then kind of connects different.
It adds to the vibe.
Connects to the episode.
If you say there was a party, it adds to the vibe to like show a party. I feel
the party footage I have is. I mean, like, it's what would you think filming people at a party looks like the day after? Like debauchery.
Well, I obviously don't look. Is there like the NC-17 version of Survivor Michigan out there? Like, yes. Like, will we ever see that?
NC-17. What's going on at these parties? I would be rated that. You're just doing coke off each other. What's happening?
I mean, there are things that you would never be able to show. I would not, that no one feel comfortable having out there from these parties.
This is not
That's
the
all
idol
I'll
search
say.
I was promised. What is this?
I don't know. I've probably said too much as it is. You'll have to go to a Michigan Survivor party sometime, and then you'll be able to see the full range of chaos in its entirety.
The funny thing to me, kind of, Ian, is that you like were there and probably like looking at us, like being like, "Wow, these people are so dumb" or something.
Well,
Yeah.
that
That's
is
like you were in the world.
You're not.
You know us a couple of years later.
No, you're not totally wrong, because like at the time of when this was all going down, I wasn't really as involved with Survivor like as I became over the course of time. So like from the rest of our roommates' point of view, it was often like Cooper bringing in a bunch of like seemingly crazy people and then just like destroying our house and going insane. And the other thing that we started saying that our house should have a say in casting decisions, because when you're casting for like a TV show, they're casting the craziest people they can find, the best TV they can find, but they're really casting like secondary characters in our lives, because then Cooper and all of them become friends with us, and now like we're like by definition, my house is by definition friends with anyone from Survivor Michigan, and there's obviously quite a cast of characters, and some of them like come through our house and then they're partying at like 6 a.m, and it's like, yo, can we go to bed at some point? Like this has to end eventually. But Stockholm Syndrome, eventually I just sort of was inoculated into it enough that I no longer bothered me. But there definitely was a period of time where I remember I think it was the season 4 after party, actually. It was either season 4 or season 3. The after party was during exam week, and all of my roommates were in my room in our attic being like, when will this end? Like, can this be over soon? And it was just like going on and on forever. But
also, I'm just now remembering the trivia challenge. Camilla, what was the video that you had on YouTube? What was it called?
Oh my god, it was called like Zoot Zoot Riot. I used to do like piano competitions. It was like a video of like me playing the song Zoot Zoot Riot. I was so creeped out when I heard that, and I was also so embarrassed. I was like, why do you guys know this about me? Crazy the things that we discovered.
It's pretty incredible, Cooper, what you can find about people online.
True.
So
I didn't
funny.
even do the stalking. That was other people. I just got handed the questions for that one. So I was reading them and I didn't even know what I was reading, honestly.
Congrats on the marriage, Aliza.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Survivor Michigan, I never would have known that I was married on Facebook. So now I guess I clicked after that challenge. I clicked and was like, I'm not married on Facebook, and Facebook was like, are you okay? Like, do you want us to block someone's profile for you? And I was like, no, I don't know what's happening. They were looking out for me, so it's kind of funny.
I can't believe you. the joke of like Dale being like, it's me, and it's like
married, literally married.
The joke of that too is I've obviously done challenges like this before, and in the last season I did, or that we filmed of this, where it was like, how many siblings does this person have? It's like, the answer is 2, and they go, it's 3, and I go, well, we went on Facebook, this is what we found, I guess it's 3. So congrats. Very funny. But I'm so sad to hear that the marriage didn't work out.
Yeah, a bummer. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. It's because you lost, right?
Yeah. If I get on CBS Survivor, maybe I'll find my person there.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless anyone has anything else they really want to bring up, I feel like this was a good time. We got through a lot of different topics.
Sure, I'll do my little pitch. If you like Survivor Michigan, you'll probably love Survivor Maryland. It's kind of the same, but less snow. Check us out on YouTube, Survivor Maryland. Some of our most recent seasons, we've got Survivor Maryland Season 7, Major Conflict. It's a great season where, just like this one, ironically enough, it is a little bit divided by major, but just like the real show, we really force that message down. We say it's humanities versus STEM. What does that mean? How does it differentiate them? More than you think, less than you'd like, let me tell you. It's a great season. I highly recommend it. It's all out there. And if you love to see great gameplay, great characters, it's all there for you. And hey, maybe one of those players has interacted with one of these players. I won't say it. Anyways, that's my spiel. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UMD Survivor. That's UMD Survivor.
Wow, that is a pitch that
Damn, have
you
you
must have
practiced
practiced
that?
in the mirror
No, I
like
do.
a
Oh,
bajillion
also,
times.
if anyone here goes to Maryland, is applying to college, wants to go to Maryland, and wants to play Survivor Maryland, we've got applications for season 17. 17? 17. There's so many now. Who knows?
Dude, when are those coming out? That's my question.
Season 8 is coming out when it comes out. All right. I get paid to do certain things, and I do this for fun. It takes hours to do. One episode confessionals are over 4 hours long. I have to go through a lot of stuff. So it comes out when it comes out, and it'll be great. But for now, you have Michigan, which is incredible.
Thank you. Yes, please go watch Survivor
Yes.
Maryland. They have a bunch of fantastic seasons. Anders has 2 amazing ones. There are some other amazing ones even before that if you were just looking for College Survivor to watch. Aliza or Camilla, do you have anything else to say? Camilla, do you want to drop your like TikTok? You're like TikTok famous or something. That's what I hear.
Not, but this is my moment to become it. Yeah, guys, how do I like drop it? I'll just read it out loud. My TikTok, everyone follow.
If you send it in the chat, I can post it. I can like make it appear on this thing.
Okay, I didn't realize how serious we're taking this. So,
I mean, if you want to. If you don't want to, you obviously don't have to.
oh no, I'm glad you brought it.
I've got my TikTok ready, about to look this up. Be like, well, how famous is?
I'm not famous. I'm not famous.
Nate has like a substantial following as well, doesn't he?
That's my. Oh, Nate's way more famous than me. I think Ben's more famous than me as well.
You know, Survivor
That is
Boston.
funny.
Survivor.
I like the pun.
Oh, thank you. My grandma's neighbor used to call me that, and so I was like, "What do I make it? That's funny."
All right. This
Survivor
is
Boston had a famous TikToker on their season. I don't know
this
how well he did.
is Camilla's TikTok. You can follow it for all of that good Camilla content if you like the show and I guess want. I have no idea what kind of stuff you post, but I imagine it's something.
Just, very basic, just original content, you know, singing, lip syncing videos, some dances here and there. Creative.
Aliza, you got anything you want to plug while we're just plugging stuff?
No, I don't have anything I want to plug. I'm good. Thank you.
Peace Corps and Hinge.
No.
Yeah, I would say if you like this show, if you like, Survivor Michigan, tell your friends, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. We have a TikTok supposedly. I've been told that as well. So hit us up, tell your friends about it, tell your other people who like reality TV that this is a thing that happens. It's really fun. And if you intend to go to Michigan sometime in the future, definitely apply. From what I'm aware, they're still doing seasons, I think. So yeah, no, they definitely are.
With it? How unprofessional not to know what season they're on.
No, they are. They are.
No, they just filmed season 7.
Yeah. I don't know why I was being cagey about that. They're still doing them. Definitely apply. Should be a good time.
Yes, you could be the one we're talking about in the future and yelling about.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Exactly. All right, I'm going to end this broadcast now. Thank you.
You don't want to share. Camilla just threw Nate's TikTok in there. You don't want to share it?
Oh, yeah. 1 sec. All right, we can put Nate's.
Doesn't he have enough?
Where is Nate's TikTok? No, his
is in the private chat.
Oh, we don't need to share this.
47.3 thousand followers.
Nate's TikTok is Nate Who's Gonna Nate. You can find it in every episode. It's literally his handle in every episode of the show. So if you want to follow Nate on TikTok,
he's famous. He's almost 50,000 followers. I've got like 100.
How many?
47,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Can Nate get a few of those more people to watch Survivor Michigan? Like, there's 47,000 people who follow this man on TikTok.
I know, he's really famous. Actually, I didn't realize that until right now.
Wow. Okay.
Well, to be fair, he only gets about 3,000 views per video. So like,
oh, that's still like.
Oh, interesting.
With no shade. I'm just
There's
pointing
one
out the
video
numbers.
that has 2.1 million views. Jeez Louise. I ain't got nothing.
Oh, I'm already like this one. Oh my god, what?
This is really all spiraling out of control.
All right, this is off. We got way sidetracked.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Aliza, Camilla, Anders, Cooper. I force you to do this, so I won't thank you. But everyone else, thank you for coming. It was wonderful to have you. We hope to